What's going on, YouTubers? For ladies and gentlemen, it's the Natural Born Thriller, and welcome everyone to Impact Wrestling Review, the show from August 19th, 2021, and they were at Nashville, Tennessee, at the Skyway Studios. Your commentators were Max Striker and D'Lo Brown, and this was a show that kind of entertained me, and it was a show that actually interests me. And I'm gonna get to all that once we get to it. First of all, we open up the show with Josh Matthews and Gia Miller. Thank God it wasn't something that I thought it was gonna be. Um, that was gonna irritate me. But Josh Matthews, I should say, and Gia Miller were in the middle of the ring, and they talking about the new Impact World Champion in Christian Cage. Retains to helping out Impact Wrestling of taking the belt away from the AW Star, who never show up that much on Impact Wrestling, and King Omega, and they were sight. GM was sight. Josh Matthews was sight, despite him being boring and everything. All of a sudden, they get interrupted by W. Morrissey and Eddie Edwards fighting. Basically, Eddie Edwards was uh, getting beat up as he's appeared on stage by W. Morrissey, and then just the fights start breaking out, and as they started getting in the ring. At this point, Jim Miller and Josh Matthews was gone from the ring. Sammy Callihan comes in the ring and saves Eddie Edwards from W. Morrissey. I'm like, and that's not gonna lead to a tag team, between Eddie Edwards and Sammy Callihan, somewhere down the line. I don't know what it is, because I said it before. Maybe this is gonna lead to a point where Sammy Callihan and Eddie Edwards is going to be a tag team moving forward. Maybe it'll be these type of tag teams that's gonna be going to Battle for Glory, and Sammy Callihan and Eddie Edwards. Once enemies, once foe, now are gonna be a tag team, are gonna be a cohesive unit against the Good Brothers of the Elite. That those doesn't are basically like a King Omega that they better show up on the show too. Maybe that's what it's gonna lead to. Hopefully that's what it's gonna be, but we'll see. But in the meantime, Sarah Calhoun gets on the microphone and says, you can thank me later, Eddie Edwards, because right now we're kicking with the show and all that. At W. Morrissey is being backed away by securities, and that was basically it. Sammy Callihan and Eddie Edwards are working as a cohesive unit, taking out W. Morrissey off the start of the show, and we get to the introduction of Impact Wrestling. I think that was the portion of what was supposed to be shown on before the Impact, and then that's when they kicked up the introduction, because we get the opening match of Sammy Callihan and Chris Sabin versus, I thought it was gonna be at first Ace Austin and Matt Fulton. Also, Moose comes out, and I say to myself, why's he coming out? And he's in his wrestling gear, and like, wait, is he the partner of Ace Austin here? And sure enough, he was. So yeah, Ace Austin and Moose were a tag team in this match, while Madman Fulton was at ringside for Moose and Ace Austin, and the match itself was pretty decent. You had Chris Sabin go for pummels on Ace Austin, basically pummels, I should say, pummels Ace Austin, with some punches, and strikes in the corner. And Chris Sabin goes to attack Moose on the apron, but the distractions allows Ace Austin to gain the control with the dropkick, the match. Madman Fulton delivers a big boot while referee's back on turn. Sammy Callihan quickened the pace, turning Ace Austin inside out with a clothesline, which, my God, he took his head off with that. Chris Sabin spikes Moose with a tornado DDT. Chris Sabin goes for a pop up to the powerbomb on Ace Austin. Chris Sabin, at this point, he tagged himself, at this point, Sam Cameron was in the match, taking care of Ace Austin. And then Chris Sabin tagged himself in to give Ace Austin the Cradle Shock finisher and gets the win. So yeah, for Sammy Callihan and Chris Sabin gets the win over Moose and Ace Austin. So Sammy Callihan did not take lightly about what Chris Sabin did there. And then Chris Sabin was like, basically shaking, But since your show's doing this, eh, I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself there. And Sammy Callahan's like, whatever, and then he puts his hand up and all that, and then also he attacks him and puts him in the power driver and spikes him with it, and that was it. And Sammy Callahan was like, hey, it was whatever, I couldn't help myself. Basically, that's what that's what it was. Sammy Callahan has is a tuner in this whole thing. He's not a heel. He's not a babyface. He's more of a tuner. Pertains to what his character is right now. But he is all for the people. He's basically the fan favorite. He's very popular with the Impact fans in attendance. Great to have the fans back, by the way. It is great to have these fans back in the building. Hopefully, we'll hear any more of the lockdowns. The Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers, speak about their victory over Jon Moxley and Yuji Nagata from New Japan Pro Wrestling's Resurgent, where Doc Gallows turns his attentions to his match against Joe Doering, which we'll get to because it ends up being the main event, and we'll see how that turns out. We'll find out once I get to it. Sammy Callahan cuts a promo. Pertains to he doesn't care who you are, and everything, blah blah blah, and talks about the whole thing with Kenny Omega losing the belt, and the belt is back where it belongs in Impact Wrestling. And also, the 8 Hours comes interrupted in the interview, and says, I didn't need your help against the remorse and all that and everything. Basically, having little disagreements and all that and everything. It's gonna lead to them being a tag team. It's gonna happen. I guarantee it's gonna lead to them being a tag team. I don't see. Otherwise, why else would they do this? That was another match between these two guys. Why should they have another match between these two guys? These guys already handled the differences. They already handled their rivalries. The feud's over between Eddie Edwards and Sammy Callahan. There's nothing else. There's nothing else they can do with this feud between these two. Between those two. The best thing they can do now is have them be a tag team, which I'll be fine with, by the way. I would not mind seeing a tag team with Eddie Edwards and Sammy Callahan, if it means to take the belts off the Good Brothers. Which pertains to the Good Brothers defending it at Emergence too, by the way. I don't see them losing the belts to them at I don't see the Good Brothers losing the belts. I meant to say at Emergence pertains to Rich Warner and especially pertains to whoever's going to be from Bound by Design in that match. So Shira with Roy Raju at ringside versus Matt Cardona with Chelsea Green at ringside. Excuse me. Matt Cardona is looking for revenge after what Raju was doing, all that, blah blah. And also pertains to John Scott getting an upset victory, a shock win over on Matt Cardona, which we'll get to more of that later, by the way. But Matt Cardona goes up against Shira in this match. Shira pulls some power on display earlier on going, sending Matt Cardona crashing into the mat with a pair of shoulder tackles. Matt Cardona turns the tie with a dive over the top to the floor, where he Raju was constantly just becoming a huge distraction in the match that allows Shira to get the upper hand. For example, they give him a big boot, and then Matt Cardona creates a separation with a missile drop kick from the second rope. Goes for a series of clotheslines. Rick Raju gets trying to get involved again, only for Chelsea Green to pull him off the apron and slaps him. And Matt Cardona hits him with a radio silence on Shira off the second rope for the win. So your winner is Matt Cardona with Chelsea Green. With the assist of Chelsea Green helping out, because Rick Raju kept interfering. And now it's gonna lead to Matt Cardona versus Rick Raju at Emergence. 1 down, 1 to go. That's basically what it was. Next, we get to the return of Master Reigns' locker room talk with her guest, Tennille Dashwood. So at first, when Master Reigns there, and also we see Johnny Swinger there. Remember, Johnny Swinger was the co-host of the show, and he's back being the co-host and everything. And they having a little catching up and everything about what's been going on. For example, Johnny Swinger and his illegal Swingers Palace that he's been doing. Also, Tennille Dashwood showed up on I think it was like a split screen, whatever. And you got Caleb there. So as I saw that whole thing going on, I lost interest. I couldn't do it anymore. I skipped it. I didn't care for it. I don't care for Team Last Word anymore, and I especially don't care about Caleb Conley's character, Caleb with a K, with his neck brace, bow tie on, and just the way he looks fucking ridiculous. He just looks ridiculous. But basically, it's gonna lead to Master Rain getting back into the ring against Taylor Wilde at Emergence. So that's basically what it was. I don't understand. I don't get why. I don't think she even explained. If she did explain why she did what she did, I really don't care, because I don't care to sit through a segment with that involves Tina Dashwood anymore. She's garbage now. She's garbage. The fact that they're giving Tina Dashwood this push on TV more than they ever give to Kiera Hogan is fucking bullshit. You know what? It's no wonder why Kiera Hogan left, by the way. I'm pretty sure Kiera Hogan asked for her release to be released of her contract early, because I think she signed for like a 3 or 5 year deal with Impact Wrestling until she decided to have enough anymore. You're gonna bring in Tyler Wilde in. You're gonna bring in Master Rain back. You're gonna get Team Nash with this push, and you're just gonna have Kiera Hogan be stuck in the tag team with with Tasha Steelz. No offense to Tasha Steelz, no, but I'll get that by the way. With Tasha Steelz, by the way, okay, I need to say something about that. But to me, I feel like that's why Kiera Hogan left. Maybe that's why Kiera Hogan left, because they're not giving her the opportunity that she deserves, and she does deserve it. But you know what? It's whatever. And speaking of Tasha Steelz, the whole thing that they did with Tasha Steelz, blah blah blah, the whole thing with pertains to having issues with Decay of Rosemary and Havoc. Like you do this one thing with an angle from last week on Impact Wrestling, where Tasha Steelz wants to help out Fall Out against Decay. This week they don't show that. Instead, what they did is they wasted it on before the Impact show. That you can watch on YouTube or on Impact Plus. Anyways, whatever. Master Rain versus Taylor Wilde. That match happened before in the past, but we'll see how it unfolds on Emergence. When I get a chance to watch it. Josh Alexander, he defends his X Division Championship title against Jake Something at Emergence. Tells him that he's being interviewed by Jim Miller, by the way, that he's not concerned about how big or how tough or how strong he is. Jake Something looks to prove a point, and the man of the match from Scott Demoy. Basically, Jake Something ends up being enrolled in the interview, and he goes up against Scott Demoy, and all of a sudden Scott Demoy is talking to Kevin McKay, and it was a ridiculous promo segment, to say. Not because of Scott Demoy and Jake Something, but because of Caleb McKay. Caleb. I'm not going that bad way anymore. Caleb McKay, I'm not going for that anymore. From now on, I'm going by Caleb. But he's complaining about Scott Demoy about something, and then Scott Demoy decides to make a match between Caleb versus Jake Something in a no disqualification match, and we'll get to that later. Now we get to something that was more important. The new Impact World Heavyweight Champion Christian Cage comes out with the Impact World Title and the TNA World Title. Welcome back to the Impact Zone, and after defeating Kenny Omega, becoming the Impact World Champion on Rampage, he says that he is honored to step foot in the place that took a chance in 2005 when he left the E to go to TNA Wrestling at the time, giving him the opportunity to become a main event star, like he always should have been in WWE as well. Christian Cage reveals that the TNA World Heavyweight Championship will will always hold dear to his heart and everything, even though he's never been TNA World Champion. But because during his time in TNA Wrestling, it was the NWA World Title. I don't remember what year it was when they decided to call it the TNA World Title. But Christian Cage was a 2-time NWA World Champion in TNA. But Christian Cage talks about how the title belt, has a history and has a lot of prestige and all that. And he felt like it should be left alone, and it should only be one title. So therefore, Christian Cage has decided to officially retire the TNA World Heavyweight Championship title belt, and that's like what happened. And the only title that should be recognized and is a proud possession in the company is the TNA World Championship. Now another thing is that which it was great on Christian Cage's part for doing that. And they got the crowds chanting TNA, by the way. Crowds were chanting TNA, which makes me think of. So I guess they're not going with the idea of going back to having an identity of being called, back going the name of TNA, which is a damn shame. I thought after everything I did last year, it was gonna lead to that, but nope. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So it's whatever. I thought it'll at least go back to the name of TNA, but that's not the case at all. So yeah, the title belt has been retired. The TNA World Heavyweight Championship belt has been retired. Once and for all. And the focus is now on the Impact World title. The only title that matters. To be the man, to be the face, to be the guy of Impact Wrestling. And that is Christian Cage right now. All of a sudden, Brian Myers comes out, the number contender who interrupts, and you still have Sam Beal with him, even though Sam Beal was portrayed by Brian Myers in the Battle Royale, sort of, because at the end of the day, it is a man for themselves. But then again, to me, I felt like it was a betrayal, because they're working together and all that and everything. But it's whatever. But Brian Myers comes out, confronts Christian Cage. Saying that at Emergence, he's become the Impact World Champion. And Christian Cage tells Brian Myers that he may be the most professional wrestler, but he's the most professional wrestler. I'm sorry. Christian Cage said that Brian Myers is the most professional wrestler, but Christian Cage told him that Christian Cage is the best professional wrestler. Also, Brian Myers pushes Sam Beal to Christian Cage, basically feeding Sam Beal to Christian Cage for distraction. Christian Cage takes him out, and Brian Myers tried to attack him, but Christian Cage was away from him. But Brian Myers ends up retreating, and that was it. Basically, a little mini interaction before they get to the match in Emergence, which by the way, it was on the same week. Basically this was the go home show edition. By the way, I should have mentioned that from the get go. This was a go home show edition for Impact Emergence. So yeah, not much built behind that. So, which it's not an Impact Wrestling could do at this point. But yeah. I mean, the whole thing with the Battle Royale, was a build up. Teams was going to become no contender against the world champion or whoever it was going to be. Because we all thought it was going to be King Omega. Going into it. So, before we get to the next match, Melina was backstage getting ready to go head to the ring. And she she bumps into Trey Miguel, and basically introducing to one another and all that, and yeah, basically just having an interaction. Also, Miguel Molina versus Brandy Lauren, the former Ava Story, who was part of Impact Wrestling at the time, and now she's back there. But as Brandy Lauren, because this time there's no Brandy Rose there. So yeah, because when Brandy Rose was there, she had to change her name to Brandy Lauren. I mean, Brandy Lauren had to change her name to something. So she had to be called Ava Story, which I thought was a good name to have too. By the way. They could have done some with that one, but then she didn't stick around that much, so It was unfortunate. So here she is back in Impact Wrestling. Now I know she's back fully to Impact Wrestling. Maybe it's just one of those things where she's there to have a match against Melina because this was Melina's Impact Wrestling debut match to have here. And the match itself sucked. Not because of Brandi Lauren. Brandi Lauren, she has improved a lot since when I first saw her back in 2017. Or was it 2016 when I first saw her? Either way, she's come a long way since then. Especially with her matches against Shashi Blackheart, which that was a heated, bloody feud rivalry between those two. So she definitely come a long way, especially with her being trained by Jay Lethal from Ring of Honor. Unfortunately, she went against Molina. Now, the reason why I say that because you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, why are we saying about Molina for? Molina she's one of the greatest of all time, and I agree, she is. Nowadays, she is not the same that she used to be before. I don't know what happened. Maybe because she gained weight, because she does look thick now, which I don't mind that either way, but still. But her wrestling has not been the same ever since. And I especially noticed it back in NWA, and I completely forgot all about that because because of the whole pandemic, ended the whole thing with NWA airing a lot on YouTube and everything. And then and then once I saw her, hanging there and there and being there, I started to realize and remember and reminded, like, oh yes, right, Molina has not been looking good since coming back into the ring, and this was no different. Brandi Lauren had to basically slow down and keep up with Molina because Molina can't keep up anymore, unfortunately. And Molina won with the California Dream submission move. Hopefully, Impact Wrestling brings back Brandi Lauren again to have a better match with someone else. Just saying, maybe against Deonna Purrazzo next time. But this was unfair for Brandi Lauren, especially when you're bringing in someone like Molina. Molina, she doesn't have that anymore. She can't go in the ring anymore. Based on how I see it and how I critique it, she is not the same Molina from years ago. Not even the same Molina where it's just to Molina versus Alicia Fox, Cameron Diaz. I mean Cameron, I meant to say, because the name Cameron. Sorry, not the Hollywood movie star, or should I say the former Hollywood movie star in Cameron Diaz. But Cameron, the Funkadactyl of Cameron. Just saying. Anyways, but yeah, this match sucked. This match was not good. After the match, Deonna Purrazzo attacks Molina, and being up and everything. Molina fighting back and all that, and Molina was fighting back in the worst possible way. Deonna Purrazzo countered it and starts fighting in the way that she fights and all, and like, this is what I'm talking about. And after seeing this, I see myself, this is bad. This is not good, especially when it comes to NWA and Power. Is this the best that we see Molina can do? Which is not good. It's bad, and it's gonna be bad for Deonna Purrazzo. It's gonna be bad for NWA once they do their all-win pay-per-view in Power. This is not gonna be a good matchup at all, unless Molina try to prove us wrong. But I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. And in this case, I have zero interest of watching Molina versus Deonna Purrazzo. At first, I did have some interest in it if Molina was still good in the ring. In this state, she's not good in the ring anymore. In fact, I think it's time for her to call it quits because she doesn't have it anymore. The days of Molina having great matches in the past, not there anymore. It's not there no more. she lost her touch. You know how you say wrestlers still got it? Well, she lost it. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, by the way. Matthew Railroad came in and pulled Melina off from Leon Prazo and holding her as Leon Prazo is pinning her. Trey Miguel comes out to even the odds, and this is going to lead to a tag team match now. I don't know if it's going to be an intergender tag team or it's just a mixed tag team, but anyway, it's going to be a tag team that's going to lead for Emergence. So, there you go. John Skyler was being interviewed by Gene Miller, pertains to, you know, the whole thing where he's got a shock win over on Matt Cardona. All of a sudden, they cut to you know, what was next to them, hearing you know, screaming from, you know, David Finlay, because Juice Robinson was attacked. Juice Robinson was holding his knee and he wasn't speaking, but he was conscious. But you know, David Finlay is trying to figure out who did this to you, you know that, and Juice Robinson did not want. Juice Robinson didn't say anything. I mean, I should say. I don't know. Maybe they attacked him by 2 minutes. I don't know what happened. But the point is, basically, they just downgraded you know, John Skyler there. You know, and just basically took away his moment there because of what happened with Juice Robinson being attacked. Now I'm assuming it was Bullet Club of Juice Robinson. You know, with Juice Robinson getting beat up by Chris Bay and you know, Jay White. Otherwise, who else could it be? You know, Jake Something versus Caleb. Jake Something wins. He didn't miss a table in this match though. He basically used the DQ you know, to his full you know, to the fullest. After the match, Josh Alexander, the X-Division champion, comes out, and you know, they have a stare down before the match at Emergence, and there you go. Yeah, so Caleb he had about a few offense, but Jake Something had a dominant showcase here at the end of the day. Su Yung appears, and also Kimberly shows up alongside with her, and they reveal, because they they're basically Su Yung and Kimberly are there to collect souls, right? And the first soul they collected was Kiera Hogan, and it showed the weed of her hair, you know, weed string of her hair, whatever. I think it was like maybe hair extensions of it from her hair, whatever. Blue and red. You know, first soul, but not the last one. So, in other words, yeah, I mean, I knew this was gonna happen either way. I knew this was gonna be the story here after what happened with Kiera Hogan last week. But basically, this was basically that was it. Kiera Hogan's dead. But according to you know, Impact Wrestling storyline here, what they did with Kiera Hogan, you know, by Su Yung and Kimberly, Kiera Hogan is dead in Impact Wrestling. I will be mad at this, and believe me, I am mad. I am fucking mad of this. But is Impact Wrestling's lost, and AEW's gain, and NWA's gain. Because Impact Wrestling doesn't fucking deserve a Kiera Hogan. Emergence. The matches that are taking place. Deon Prazo and Matthew Railroad versus Molina and Trey Miguel. Ray Rajo versus Matt Cardona. Steve Macklin versus P.D. Williams. Madison Rain versus Taylor Wilde. Tasha Steeles. Savannah Evans and Falaba. Oh yeah, and No Way Jose versus Decay. Basically, it's gonna feature, you know, Black Taurus, Crazy Steve, Rosemary, and just, you know, and Havoc. That's Decay. Josh Alexander versus Jake Something for the X-Division Championship. Moose versus Ace Austin versus Sami Callihan versus Chris Sabin in a 4-way no more contendership match. And Oh, we had two more. Good Brothers versus Final by Design versus Rich Swann and Remac in a three-way World Tag Team Championship match. And finally, Christian Cage will defend his Impact World title against Brian Myers. So I'm gonna go for some predictions since the show already happened, by the way, folks. Yeah, as it was recording, the show already happened. The results are in the books and all that, and I don't know the results, and I'm gonna keep it that way. So, Deon Purrazzo and Matthew Raybro versus Molina and Trey Miguel. I'm gonna go with the king and queen of Deon Purrazzo and I should be the other way around, by the way. The queen and king of Deon Purrazzo and Matthew Raybro to defeat Molina and Trey Miguel. Matt Cardona to defeat Ray Raju. Steve Macklin to defeat Petey Williams. As much I want to see Taylor Wilde win, Master Reign for the win. I don't see Taylor Wilde winning here because I think it's gonna be lead to some interferences from Taylor Dashwood and Caleb. So. As much as I want the K to win, I want Tasha Steelz, Savannah Evans, Falaba, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but No Way Jose for the win. I feel like throwing up. I just saying that. I must be out of my mind saying that I want No Way Jose to win. Josh Alexander to defeat Jake Something to retain the X Division title. As far as the normal contention match between Moose, Ace Austin, Sami Callihan, and Chris Sabin. Moose for the win. The Good Brothers to retain against Fine by Design and Rich Swann and Willie Mack. And finally, Christian Cage to defeat Brian Myers, because Brian Myers ain't gonna win the world title belt. As much as he's doing great with this whole professional wrestling thing, the most professional wrestling, and teaching Sammy Beal for that whole thing, which is gold. But I don't see him winning the Impact World title against Christian Cage, because Christian Cage just won the belt, so I don't see that happening. So Christian Cage retains. Now for the main event. Doc Gallows with Carl Anderson ringside versus Joe Doring with Found by Design ringside, of Eric Young, Rhino, and Diener. Matt Strickman to say. Matt Strickman called Joe Doring Mighty Joe Doring. Like how Mighty Joe Young. Great movie, by the way. I never seen the original movie though. I saw the the reboot movie though, the one I grew up watching. But as far as the old school, the first ever Mighty Joe Young movie, never seen that one. But I want to see it though, because the first movie I saw Mighty Joe Young, which was around the 90s maybe, or maybe in the early 2000s maybe. I can't remember what year it was, but I digress. But I love that movie though. But I love that Matt Strickland called Joe Doring the Mighty Joe Doring, especially how the way he's been presented, how he carries himself, how intimidating he looks, how of a threat he can be, especially that let him be a threat. So these guys, it's just basically a big man match here, and they were going to add it. If you ask me, Doc Gallows was the one who was getting the most offense in the match against Joe Doring. But it was still back and forth. Big man match in the way. We got to a point where they fight on the stage. But before that, by the way, Doc Gallows threw a chair to Joe Doring. I was thinking, wait a minute, is this no rules? Because if that was the case, then why Carl Anderson didn't get involved? Why didn't involve the design of Eric Young, Rhino, and Dino didn't get involved? I guess they wanted these two guys to just have at it, and that's exactly what they did. So they're having the all that. Doc Gallows threw a chair at him at one point, at Joe Doring. They basically were at it though. Now, first it was a little rough when they first started, but it started picking up a little bit, especially what happened on stage, where Doc Gallows got Joe Doring, and I should have mentioned this too, by the way. When they were making their entrance way, for whatever reason, the camera shot was Well, basically, this was the side where the direction that the wrestlers were entering into the to the stage, and you see on this side, you see the basically the camera angle is pointing at that side. I should have realized at that point why it was done that way, because of all the things that happened on the show, pertains to the camera angles, hasn't done that until we get to that main event that was going to happen. And I was thinking, so why are they doing it like that? Why how is it that they didn't do that before? When the show first started, and then it comes to to a realization that why they did it that way. So Doc Gallows got Joel Doring, picks him up for like a chokeslam bomb in a way, chokeslam set out double chokeslam way like how Prince Albert, Tensai, Lord Tensai, A Train, that basically the wrestler named Matt Bloom, former wrestler by the way, but he's a trainer now for NXT. But anyways, you know what I mean. Prince Albert too. That's also his name too. But anyways, but yeah, that's basically the double choke slam sit up power bomb and everything, right? Through the stage, and they went through it. And also you can also tell too by the way how it was looked to and all. It was meant to be that way. Based on how it may look, with the pertains to the you can see the crack of it, but it still looked good either way. Looked great, and both guys couldn't get back up until you have a couple of referees coming out. You have a doctor coming out there. You had Scott Moore coming out there. You basically they're make it look like it was a serious situation here. Buckhouse ends up gaining consciousness, and then he pushes the doctor away. He pushes the referees away. Joe Doring ends up regaining consciousness as well. And he pushes away securities and all that to get he didn't want to get back in, and it was a long struggle to get back in the ring, and they started battling out again. At this point, they were winded and they were beaten beautifully and all. And then we get Doc Gallows from the top, I think from the second rope or top rope, whatever. And Joe Doring would in midair clothesline the hell out of him and gets the win. Now in this match, I expected mighty Joe Doring to get the win either way, because Joe Doring is when it needs to be getting that strong push, that strong booking, the strong character to be protected in a way. Yeah, obviously not. I mean, not in a way. He should be protected. Unlike how AEW did with Warlow. Woo. But yeah, Joe Doring got the win, and I couldn't be more happy for him. Now that basically that leaves a momentum for Final Design for Emergence, but does that mean they're gonna win? Nope. In this case, you need Rhino and Dino to be in the match instead of Joe Doring, because Joe Doring is gonna be sore for that time. So you don't want Final Design to lose there. So there you go. But there you go. But that will do it for Impact Wrestling review, to show from August 19th, 2021. This was the Go Home Show edition for Impact Wrestling Emergence 2021. Let's see. No. 5 matches were the total wrestling for the show. But let me just double check. What's my name? Jake something. 4 and 5. Yep, 5 matches were total wrestling for the show. And my overall strength for the show as well. For since the Go Home Show edition. Not much of a Go Home Show and all that, but they did their best to hype it up and all that. At the end of the day, the best, they did their best to try to hype up the show, but same time, no one is really going to tune into Emergence, because people are going to tune in more for SmackDown and for Rampage, especially for Rampage, because of a certain someone. Enough said. But 7.5 out of 10 though. This show gets a 7.5 out of 10. Good show. This is a good show. That being said, thank you for watching. For It's Natural Born Thriller, saying peace on the streets. You all take care.